meets.
Good morning and welcome to round 5, I think it is, after King of QR at Queensland Raceway. Today, normal morning half-day session, running the clubman, then running the sprint. So, you know, gonna try and focus on getting some really fast lap times. As you can see, it's pretty wet, which sucks for trying to go fast, but it should be drying the rest of the day, and it's been raining the last couple of days. So all the old fuel, old rubber should be washed off the track. New rubber laid down is going to be really fast. So hopefully we can set some PBs. It's going to be a good ass day. I'll catch you up. Editing Lockie here from the future. This video is actually recorded in August and I'm only getting around to editing it now in November. And I'm sorry about that, but you'll see in the next video why. But I've done a very bad job of explaining what's going on in this video. It's all over the shop. So I'm going to jump in here and give a bit of context. Today is the final points session for the year for Queensland Raceway, and we're going for second place overall in the championship. So we have to make sure that we put down some decent times today, not bottom of the barrel, and we should be able to maintain our spot for the year, which would be fantastic if we manage to do it, considering this is our first year of actually competing consistently. Later on in the video, we're also going to see I get to chuck on a pair of A052 ADVANs on some RPF ones, and we're going to see how well that impacts the lap time. Wink wink, does a pretty good job. So let's get back into it. You reckon? Alrighty. Look at these bad boys. Dumper for us, lads. There we go. Oh, just a wee bit of poke, fella. Ah, too easy. So that's some A052's that Laz is potentially letting us run today. And I'll go and validate my lap so Alex doesn't complain about how I went 4 seconds fast. Just to add to the excitement of the day, we are now cruising down pit lane, as you can see, because some of us, one of us specifically, forgot to check his tire pressures. And then I checked them this morning and I swear they were 35, and I've just checked them again and they're like 26. So we've got our cheeky air pressure sensor, whatever, fill up there. We're gonna go run over to the one at the track over in the scrutineering shed and then fill it up. So, tire pressure filled. Actually very, very weird. I think the gauge that is at the track might be a little off, because apparently I had 26 in the front, according to a very, very fancy reader in the pit lane. Again, thanks to Laz. But then I come here, it says I have like over 30. So a little weird. So I pumped them up and checked them twice with 2 different gauges. They should be good, but we'll see how it goes. Now we're going to run back over to the pit. And welcome back to Queensland Raceway. As you can see, it's a little wet on the track. I'm sure that won't have any consequences for us. Anyway, so this was our final Queensland Raceway day of the year at this current time, and it was for a couple reasons, some of which you'll see in the next video. But today was really about getting some points on the board, because the very next session was going to be our bye run in terms of the points. So we wanted to put a good standing on to see where we'd end up at the end of the year. And as you can see right here, maybe I was a little bit excited with it and I was having a great time, but it was a bit slow and it was a bit slippery to be really putting down those PB times. So today was more about managing the conditions. And given that we're running the session on our now year-old Motorsport 5s, which have been fantastic throughout the year, you can clearly feel in the car that the grip that we had at the start of the year, as expected, is no longer there after many track days and many heat cycles, and that's to be expected. And we're nowhere near as competitive in the wet as we were last time we went out, but especially when I do stupid things like this.
What happened, Mr. Drifter? Tell us.
Fucking lost it. Now what we're gonna do? I'm fucked now.
Oh, fuck.
Now, if you're not making mistakes, you're not pushing hard enough, but this is a pretty stupid mistake to catch on film especially. More so when you hear that my foot didn't really lift, and I think I was pretending to be the drifter that I am not. So after an embarrassing first session, we went back out for the second session, and it was definitely getting drier. I mean, the conditions stopped raining just before the track opened, so the day was getting drier and drier as time went on. But you can still see that there is a distinct dry and wet line, and if you touched the wrong side of it, you were off to a bit of an adventure. So right about now, I'm starting to feel myself a little bit more. I was getting used to the conditions, the dry line was forming, the car was moving around still a bit, but it wasn't anything serious, and so I was ready to put down a hot lap.
Fucking hell.
And so for the second time today, I'm pulling back onto the track after having a big moment. The 2 moments I've ever actually had where I've gone off track at Queensland Raceway. But let's have a look at both of them again and see if we can derive any future lessons. So, back to first session. So first thing we can see is that it's still very wet. Second thing we could see is that I'm not necessarily setting myself up well here for this left-hander, knowing that I don't have much grip. Like, I found myself in the middle of the track, which is fine in the dry, but I really should have probably slowed more and opened up my line into this left-hander to make sure that I wasn't putting a lot of lateral G-force on the car if I could avoid it. Because what happens is that as soon as we go over this corner and over the crest and the camber in the corner, the car weight transitions and then the car goes into a slide. The next very reasonable take is that I should have just got out of the throttle, and that's very valid. There was a reason to my madness. I was trying to drive through the moments that I was having today, and part of that was intentional from some advice or some training I'd been given, which was to try and be more comfortable when the car is not comfortable and try and focus on driving the car at or beyond the limit, both so I could learn those limits and figure out how to control them. And in my head, I was drive through it, when I really, given that it was wet and given that I'd kind of messed up my line on the entry, probably wasn't the smartest decision I've ever made. But enough of session 1's screw up, let's go to session 2. In this second incident, it's a little weird. Initially, I'm a little too close to the inside corner of the track, as you can see. And as soon as I lose some grip, I wash out. And now that I've washed out to the outside of the track, where it's clearly dry, not as dry, it's clearly wet, at this point in time, I'm going round. I have too much speed, the car isn't pointing straight, the rear is going to step out and overspeed the front of the car, which is fine. So I think the learning from this one is really just to be more aware of my entry points. I feel like if I'd gone into this corner at this speed, but have not tried and cut it as close to the inside as I like to do, I think I find that in turn 1, I cut very close to the inside, hoping to maximize my exit, so I don't have to accelerate. I can sort of be into the apex and then washing out as far as I can, as fast as possible. But here, given that that's where the dry line wasn't, it really worked against my favor. So now that we armchair solved all my problems, let's get to the better part of the video. So, another off there. That was pretty intense. I know they said, you know, push it more, find your limits more at the driver training day. Not sure this is what they meant. I think they probably would say, drive to the conditions better, you idiot, in this session. And if we have a look at the car, oh yeah, she's a bit dirty. There's a little bit of grass here, but that's completely fine. So now we're gonna get Laz have a lap as trade-off for letting me borrow the A052's as we spoke about. So he's gonna go run on the PS5s in the final session of the sprint and put down some crazy times for me that I won't tell Paul are actually not me. And then we'll see how it goes. So here's a video of that.
2.5.
Yeah, like 7. Anything above. Anything over 7, you start to fall off again. So basically at 7, you shift.
Gotcha.
Yep. Oh, traction control. Let's do it. Hey, pack the car on.
Oh, not yet. We're not called yet.
In fairness to me, I BS'd that, but that was a pretty good video.
BSC Sport.
There you go. Done. Enjoy.
Sweet.
Have fun.
Is this on?
Yeah, that's recording, bud. So feel free to scream and yell and talk shit.
Oh, fuck.
If you don't want to be on YouTube, I won't put it up. It's all good. You can change your mind afterwards.
Oh, God. This guy. This guy.
And so with this magnificent flyby from Laz, I'll leave you to see him absolutely kill a sprint layout in my own car, which is so strange to watch from the outside. I gotta say, these look so good on the car. These look absolutely incredible. I love it. Apart from the fact that there's a little bit of poke here, but you gotta have rice spec once in your life, you know? Look at that. Meat. So here we are, finally. We're out on a session, the A052's. And this is our second session out. So we've had a first session where I got a little bit held up by traffic and didn't do too well, still feeling at the tires. But this is our first hot lap. And you can see already how much more lateral grip I have. Going through turn 1, turn 2, I'm almost 10 kilometers plus faster, and there's a lot more to go. And again, as expected, every transitional state of the car is just faster. I can carry so much more speed, and you can see it here in the final turn, how much more speed I can carry around. And so we finished that session with a 105.71, which is a really quick time in the Clubman for us. And that's fantastic. Right after this session, I proceed to go back out on my old set of tires, and I throw down 107.1s time after time after time. So getting close to a 2.5 second gap just from some A052's is pretty substantial, and either goes to show how bad the PS5s are when they're worn out compared to obviously an incredible tire in the A052. So before we head out of here, I thought I'd give us just a little bit of a treat and compare the 2 laps, both this lap as well as my fastest lap on this layout way back at King of QR. Interesting enough, and it might have been how I set these videos up, but a lot of the advantage between these 2 tires actually comes later in the lap. But you can see that my overall speed through the corners is generally much higher on the A052's than the PS5's. Now, admittedly, it was still a little wet in places on the A052's, even though it's basically dry, and I think my line may have suffered a little bit since King of QR, but a lot of these lap is neck and neck. Obviously the A052's are edging out a lead more and more, but really we see a massive difference in basically how I approach this final turn. You can see here my line is just so much tighter, and I'm on the gas so much earlier from the A052's in that final corner compared to what I have to run on the PS5's, because I just have no grip and I understeer like crazy to try and slingshot myself out of the corner. And as you can see, I finished well ahead of my previous lap. So there you go. That was the last session at Queensland Raceway for the year, and happy to say we managed to snake 2nd overall for the year, which doesn't mean much, but I'm still very proud of it. So look out for the next video, which is going to be a banger. Make sure you like and subscribe. Let me know how you like this video and how you like the fact that I'm including race render a lot more. And other than that, I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.